What is up, everybody? Welcome to the pre-lock show for Monday Night Football, San Francisco and Minnesota. We're going to walk you through some plays we like in general and just, everything about this game. We got about 34, 35 minutes until this thing kicks off, so we're here nice and late. And as always on Monday, joined by Squirrel Patrol, the man who, has dominated the DFS contest here in recent years. Like just going back a couple years, the man's been on fire. Squirrel, how was your weekend this weekend, man?
Good weekend. Did some pumpkin patch with the family.
Okay.
And big sports weekend, big sports day. Big sports week coming up. We got was it a game 7 tonight, potentially game 7 tomorrow. So yeah, it's and of course I buried the lead NBA starting tomorrow.
Oof.
So in the middle of my article today when Draymond got ruled out, so starts already.
Yeah, Mr. Gerg is in chat. He had a question. He says, "How are Beal and Booker already questionable for the first game of the season?" I would say it's just the beginning, brother. This is going to be the worst year. Yeah, it keeps progressively getting worse in the NBA, but this will be the worst one year yet for sure. But you can get ready for that all year long, especially a team like Bill, Booker, Durant. They will not overwork those guys in the regular season. They have to be all healthy for the playoffs. So you're going to get a lot of this stuff. So it's NBA life for you, man. But how do you feel about that, though? I just dislike it so much when I'm in the football, or I could be it could be another sport, but I'm in the football, and now all of a sudden here comes basketball. This got to creep up and take my time. I just don't like it, man. But how do you feel about the intersecting sports like that?
It's a busy time, but it can be fun too. I do a lot of UFC, so it's kind of always overlap of sports, intersection of sports. But it's fun, and it can be difficult adjusting DFS wise because I always end up being way too off the board with my NBA plays at first because I'm thinking in a baseball football mindset, and then baseball comes and I end up way too chalky because I'm in the middle of NBA, and then baseball creeps up in April. But yeah, it should be fun. I mean, it's a busy time, but it's fun.
I've always thought, I said this many years ago, NBA should their first game of the year should be on Christmas Day. That should kick off the season, the big one, and give us these extra couple of months to enjoy football. So you're not pressed against football. You start off with a spectacular bang. Everybody's healthy for Christmas Day, those big games, and then just drag the playoffs, make the playoffs a little quicker and drag them out a little bit longer into the summer. No big deal. All you're competing up against is summer baseball, and that can get a little monotonous too. So that's just my 2 cents. I know they're not paying attention to our pre-lock show, Squirrel, but if I had my druthers, I think that's what I would do if I was. That'd be one of my first orders of business in the NBA if I was the commissioner, right?
That cut NBA revenue by 20% or more.
Well, no, you don't have to. You don't have to cut the season down. Yeah, I'm not saying go to a reduced games. I'm just saying we can push it back and find a way to.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, just push things back. It doesn't have to be pushed back a full 2 months on the back end. Just at the beginning here, we can make up for lesser days. Listen, teams are already getting a lot of days off spaced out, and they're still sitting guys. So you might as well condense it a little bit more because they're still just going to sit guys regardless. So I don't know. We'll figure it out one day. I just don't like the overlapping sport. That's just me. I'm too old for it, Squirrel. I'm just getting too old for it, man. I ain't got that grind anymore. But we're here to talk about some Monday Night Football. We got the Niners Vikings. We are currently at 7 and 43.5. Got to know the odds, Squirrel. I got to know the odds. If I don't put out the odds, if I don't say the odds, then I'm a bad guy here. So there's just a little. I'm getting some flack for not quoting odds earlier, but we got some odds. 743.5 is our odds tonight. What do you like tonight?
I don't have strong conviction. I'd probably go Minnesota with 7. Playing at home. San Francisco's coming off a tough loss, and that can go one of two directions. But losing Deebo Samuel is something. It's that, and Christian McCaffrey is a little bit banged up. So I could see them. I think they're going to win, but I don't 7's. By a touchdown. That could end up being a push bet right there. Maybe the over a little bit. But that might just be my fan rooting interest. Would like to see some points scored. So yeah, I'd lean towards Minnesota in the over, but not tremendously strong conviction.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think we've fully seen the Justin Jefferson absence come into play yet, and how bad it's really going to hurt Minnesota. And I think tonight might be when they really find out for the first time just how rough that is. Speaking of D-Mac or Debo Samuel and C-Mac and D-Mac, that might be their new name, D-Mac. But we got some inactives here. Let's get through them real quick. Minnesota, I don't see anything of note that's huge for Minnesota. And then we go to the Frisco side, and obviously Debo Samuel, we knew he was out, and C-Mac is active. So you got active, you got Debo inactive, but also Trent Williams, their best offensive lineman, he's out. That can't help them. It can only hurt them in some way. How much will it hurt tonight against Minnesota? Not really sure, but maybe they can get by with it tonight. If he misses an extended period of time, I got to start taking that into consideration against the good teams. But I'm not sure Minnesota is a good team. What out there on all that inactive stuff catches your eye the most, or does anything move the needle at all besides Debo?
Nothing really unexpected. I do think the Debo Samuel loss is something. No surprise inactives. I think Chris Conley's active for I don't even know if it's on San Francisco or Minnesota now that I think about it. Conley, is on San Francisco. Yeah, so he's the fifth wide receiver stepping in for Debo being out. So that's if you're looking for that $200 punt play on DraftKings, that'll be the sub 1% owned guy.
Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff in play. Now, anytime you get a guy like Debo out, you can always kind of dig in there and see if there's something. I mean, there's obvious big benefactors that we'll talk about, and then there's the little guys, and all those guys needs is like one catch, not even a touchdown, just one nice long catch, and you can do some damage with them if the scoring is low enough in the real life game. So. I'll get through a few questions right now. We got about 27 minutes left till this thing kicks off. So somewhere around 15 minutes or so from now, we'll do the fill it in your loins, or what is it? The fill it in your plums. I apologize, Butto Jenkins. Fill it in your plums play of the night. So, but for right now, let's take some questions. I have one in Discord. It's from David82165. Do I prefer pork chops or lamb chops? I guess I'd say pork chops. You have a pork chop, lamb chop take?
I like pork chops. I'll eat lamb, but kind of rarely in the mood. Always feels like it's supposed to be steak, but it's not.
Yeah, I haven't eaten a good pork chop in a while, though. I'm not going to lie, Squirrel. I'll talk about getting old earlier, and the truth is, like, back in my younger day, I would pound some steak, man. Like, I would tear it up. I'm just not too much into the pork and red meat anymore. I don't know why. Just not appetizing. Not that I'm trying to, on purpose, save the environment or cut down on all that. I just not as appetizing anymore. Give me chicken and fish these days. I don't know why, but I'm with you there. He also asked about playing two Minnesota running backs together in the same lineup in a large field. That's a little bit ballsy because I wasn't even thinking about playing one. And if I had like any kind of decent money at stake in one lineup, but what do you think about two Minnesota running backs in a large field?
I actually like it. It's an off the board play, but like Madison and Akers are both a little bit underpriced. So San Francisco just lost to Cleveland, who was running like Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford, and they had PJ Walker at quarterback. So we think of Minnesota in like the passing game. We think of Minnesota in the passing game because of Justin Jefferson, and he's not here anymore. So if Minnesota has a path to victory, maybe it is just they're running Madison and Akers, and they're both underpriced. So I think you can go for it. I would not do two San Francisco running backs, actually, because the San Francisco backups are kind of priced up. There's some like questions over like who's the main guy or who's the backup, I guess, between Eli Mitchell and Jordan Mason. So I think you can play like one San Francisco running back, definitely. But like I would, they're too expensive to play multiple San Francisco running backs in the same lineup. But I think you can actually do Madison and Akers, and that's like an interesting combo. It can go like that's a game script can go a few different ways where you'd be fitting those guys into the lineup.
Yeah. If you're out there playing those really, really big large field contests for $15 or $5 or $3 or whatever, and you're competing against a lot, I think that's a great way to go. You got to be different, man. Just be different, and that's one way to do it. But yeah, I can get behind that. Just anything when we start dealing with like one lineup and there's a lot of money at stake, I don't want to do that now, because we're not all you, Squirrel. We don't have these riches to fall back on, man, from these just massive wins you've had these last couple of years. But, to each his own. Big Hurt, our boy, he loves him some FanDuel. Who's your favorite single entry? Everything on FanDuel is single entry for him. FanDuel single entry. Who's your favorite MVP? And then who's your favorite flex on FanDuel tonight? Single entry stuff.
I'd probably go Brock Purdy at MVP. I think he's going to be popular, but I think he's kind of stands out. You got to remember, on FanDuel, there's no salary multiplier. It's like if you've got Brock Purdy in your lineup, but you don't have him in the MVP spot, you've got him in the flex. Like, you're saying that all of the other guys in your lineup are going to did Brock Purdy is going to score less than the MVP on a raw points basis, not just salary considered. So we think about like DraftKings and the salary multiplier. So I like Brock Purdy as the MVP, and I would try to pair him with a couple of receivers. Favorite flex? This is going to be a little bit weird, but I'd go Jake Moody at 8,500. Like on DraftKings, like the San Francisco kicker is priced way up, like more so than I've seen before, and that makes sense because it's indoors and San Francisco is supposed to romp here, but the kickers are the same price on FanDuel. I don't know why, so that makes Moody a much better play on FanDuel. So. Yeah, I'd probably go like Brock Purdy and the MVP and then Jake Moody in the flex spot.
I like the Purdy call in the MVP. I have the same thoughts on that one. And, just generally for the flex, I'll probably go with, I think the ownership, looking at it in lineup HQ for TJ Hawkinson. Again, I talked about last week, no Justin Jefferson. I don't think we got to see the full evolution of what Hawkinson is going to be without Justin Jefferson just yet. Maybe he unleashes it tonight. So I'd probably say Hawkinson. But, it's flag. Anything can happen. All right. We got some more questions for you here. Let's stay in FanDuel real quick, and let's talk about the large field. We just talked about single entry. What if we're in those large field trying to get 100K or 50K up top, and you got to battle a whole bunch of people? How much does that change that Brock Purdy line of thinking for your MVP?
I think you can still go with Brock Purdy. You can differentiate if you want, but I don't think you have to, because I think a lot of people are going to go with like Kittle or Brandon Ayuk. But like if Purdy throws a touchdown to both Kittle and Ayuk, like there's a good chance that Purdy is going to be the MVP. So I don't think he's ever as popular as he should be. I would just maybe take care. Like in super large field, like maybe you're pairing him with kind of an off the board play, like Ray McLeod, so that wide receiver maybe stepping in for Debo, is going to see more snaps, a little bit more targets than we're used to Ray seeing. You could go Jawan Jennings, Ronnie Bell, I think should see the field. If you really want to get different, Kyle Juszczyk seems to always have pretty good games on the showdown, like single game primetime games. He's always liable to run in a touchdown, maybe even catch a touchdown pass. That could shake up the slate at his salary.
I like it. I see our boy Butthole Jenkins. Yes, we will get to the Plums play of the night soon enough, Mr. Jenkins. I'll give you plenty of time to get that in your lineup. I'm just hoping we're not identical on our Plums play of the night tonight, because I don't know, it feels pretty centered tonight, but we'll figure that one out later. All right. Mr. Gerg, full fade of CMC tonight. I think it's a very valid question on a showdown slate tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, actually, I think that's pretty reasonable on both sides, because he's a little bit dinged up. Like if San Francisco gets out to a big lead, I don't see why they would keep running McCaffrey in there if he's dinged up. This is a team that wants to be playing through January, so at least. I would see that at some point maybe they got to rest CMC. So if they're up big, I think you could see them pulling him. and he has to like be playing the full game to pay off that salary. Like he is expensive, and it's a factor on both sites, like both FanDuel and DraftKings. Like he is very expensive. I could definitely see him getting like priced off of the winning lineup. So yeah, I think you can do a fade of McCaffrey. I think it's an interesting call.
Okay, I was watching the Minnesota game last week because I was really heavily invested in Jordan Addison and even TJ Hawkinson, and I kept seeing this kid Brandon Powell pop up on my screen taking all the passes. So we got a couple of questions. Mardon Yeezy, friend of the program, and Kay Classo. They want to talk about Powell and specifically Osborne or Powell, but Powell in general. I want you to give me your thoughts on Brandon Powell.
Yeah, I don't know. I might be feeling some plums. Yeah. So don't want to give it away. But yeah, I like Brandon Powell a lot. Like he's underpriced. I think he's probably I think probably the biggest like raw points like beneficiary of Justin Jefferson is going to be TJ Hawkinson. But yeah, I think Powell's going to be a little bit overlooked. He's really affordable, like especially on DraftKings at 2,800. Like that's too cheap for the role that he's going to be getting now that Justin Jefferson's like no longer a factor. So yeah, like Brandon Powell a lot.
All right, let's keep them going. Let's keep on rolling here. We have yesterday. I Am Authentic wants to know. Yesterday was National Tight End Day. Boy, we saw some tight ends blow up yesterday. Man, did we? That was just craziness by Travis Kelce. But he wants to know. I know it was technically yesterday, but does Kittle still ball out? I'll even throw in does Kittle and or TJ Hawkinson, who is a very good tight end himself. Do they carry over National Tight End Day and is either one of them have a big game tonight?
It's a day late, so I don't know. I mean, I've got probably about 25% of each of them. I think I'm going to be probably right around the field on them. They could break. I think Kittle's maybe a little bit better of a play on FanDuel, where like the touchdowns count a little bit more. So like Kittle a lot on FanDuel. I'd like them both a little bit on DraftKings, but not as much as Brandon Powell at 2,800.
Okay, let's talk about I Am Authentic again because he's bringing up a player prop. By the way, guys, keep the questions coming. That's what we're here for the next 15 to 17 minutes or so. This is a good thing here. He's bringing up a player prop, and I want to say that if you play on Prize Picks or Underdog or even at your sports book, if you're in a legal state and you want to shoot out some questions, those kind of yes or no, over under on these kind of player props, man, by all means, put it in the chat. I love stuff like that, and if you post it, something might catch my eye, and then I go to Prize Picks and want to play it because I haven't fully looked at the whole board, but I love those kind of player prop questions if y'all want to shoot them in. But I Am Authentic says Alexander Madison, over 3.5 on DK at plus 140. I'm assuming he means receptions, maybe. I'll assume receptions. If it's something else, please let me know. What do you think about Madison on a receptions prop on DK?
I might go the under. I think you're probably getting like plus money on it's probably plus 140 on the under 3.5. So I'd probably do that.
Okay, it was reception. So that's a tough one. That's a good one. Ayuk or C-Mac captain on DraftKings single entry. DraftKings single entry captain. Ayuk or C-Mac.
I do Ayuk.
I'm gonna save that one for later. We got DraftKings single entry. Who's your favorite captain? Speaking of DraftKings single entry, that's from third cap. I don't know, third fret capo, I guess. Favorite single entry captain.
I'd still probably go Brock Purdy. Just make an effort to pair him with a couple of his receivers because like he's not a guy that's going to be running in a couple touchdowns. So yeah, I'd still go Brock Purdy, and I think if you do like make an effort to pair him with a couple of receivers, especially if it's a lower owned guy, then I think you're getting different enough for a single entry.
Fair enough. Now Derek Ringering, friend of the show, he's always here asking some good questions. Now he's going to ask a question. It says, "Is Powell captain is that too cute? Now I'm going to pause. I don't want you to answer that right now because we got about 15 minutes or so left before this thing kicks off. Getting a lot of these power questions. I think it's time. I think it's time we unleash the Plums play of the night from Squirrel here and see if that answers your question, Derek. So I'm going to give you the floor here, Squirrel.
Yeah, so I alluded to it earlier, but I think Brandon Powell's the feeling it in the Plums play of the night. Can't beat that value on DraftKings at only 2,800. I think he's pretty well priced at 7,500 on FanDuel as well. Maybe like him a little bit better on DraftKings just because you need the price. You need those dollars a little bit more on DraftKings. Stepping into a bigger role with Justin Jefferson out. So Brandon Powell playing at home in Minnesota, the feeling it in my Plums play of the night.
Man, that's a good one. I like it. Now I'm gonna give mine, and I'm gonna go a little bit more chalky here, but that's okay. We can work with it. I know it's a day late on the National Tight End Day, but I'm going George Kittle, man. I started to uncover some stuff with Debo, trying to figure out who's gonna get it, man, with Debo out. Who's gonna benefit the most? And there's obviously a couple of guys who are gonna benefit a lot, but George Kittle over the last 5 games with Debo out. 8 touchdowns, man. A touchdown or more in every single game. It's a security blanket when Debo's not there. And obviously all his other stats rise too. But the big one is the touchdowns to me. So I got some odds for you. Would you be interested in a plus 170 for George Kittle to score a touchdown, Squirrel?
Yeah, that seems like a pretty good price. San Francisco is going to be scoring touchdowns, right? I think McCaffrey's maybe his streak is ending tonight. So I could see Kittle, getting a red zone look, and he's a tight end that's capable of getting a long touchdown too. So
yeah,
I like that at plus 170.
Yeah, that's what we're rolling with. So we got a couple plums there. We got Powell, we got Kittle. Hopefully, we don't steer you wrong. And Plums play the nice. They've been pretty good so far this year. All right, I love weed. Niner, I puck over. Niner, is that Ayuk? I think it's Ayuk. He meant to say Ayuk over under 4.5 receptions tonight. Oh man, that's a good one. What do you think, Squirrel?
I like that. I think like McCaffrey might be a little bit limited, and maybe Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle are picking up a little bit of the slack. Because I don't think, like in the passing game, I'm not necessarily thinking like Eli Mitchell and Jordan Mason are stepping up in the passing game. So I think there might be some more receptions to go around for Ayuk and Kittle. So I like that over 4.5.
Yeah, I got Darren Unger. Man, he's going to test you on this one because these are both guys you said you like. On FanDuel, would you do Moody and Joseph, or 49ers defense and Powell? A couple guys you like on each side of that ball.
Yeah, probably go 49ers defense and Powell.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. I got it. All right, Colin Richardson. He says Kittle didn't do anything last week and was out there 95% of the snaps. Yeah. Here's the thing about George Kittle. When you look, like I've always thought, when Debo's healthy, Ayuk's healthy, C-Mac is healthy, he's vastly overrated in DFS. He's like not that good when everybody's healthy. I don't even like to play him on a main slate when that team is fully healthy. But there's no Debo. That's massive tonight for him. If one of those two guys, Ayuk or Debo, miss, he gets a massive bump right there. So I'm not worried about last week's stats or really any stats with Kittle that don't involve some of these guys, one of these guys being out. So I'm okay with that, Colin, but it's a fair point. You got to do what you got to do. Only using one Viking, Rucan Verde, only using one Viking. Would Powell, C-Mac, or Jennings and Addison with Purdy as his captain? Would you do Powell and C-Mac or Jennings and Addison?
I do Powell and C-Mac by a mile.
Powell and C-Mac by a mile. I like it. All right. Dean jumping in there, trying to troll me a little. What are the odds on Kittle? Dean, I've looked it up. It is plus 170. Is your best odds on FanDuel for Kittle to score a touchdown. And I kind of like it, Dean. I don't know if you know this, but I kind of like that. I kind of like that one tonight. So maybe we'll find the end zone, and that'd be fantastic that we can all share our screens on Twitter and, show me the screenshots, man, of the winning bet. That'd be fantastic. All right. What's your take on Mason Mitchell backfield if CMC is in fact limited? I don't think We've hit on that quite enough. He was questionable for most of this week. You just don't know how they're going to treat him. So if he is limited, what is your full-fledged take on Mason and Mitchell?
So I think the issue is they're priced up, and I think when I say like CMC might be limited, I mean that could mean a number of things. Like that could just mean that he's playing 3 quarters if they're up big, or even just up a couple touchdowns, or even if Minnesota offense is struggling in general and they're up 14 points. Maybe they're putting in Mason and Mitchell. I think one of the issues is that they're priced up on both sides. So I think Mitchell's 11,000, Mason's 10,500 on FanDuel. That's too expensive if they're splitting the carries, and it's probably too expensive if they're coming in for the fourth quarter. Even if they're getting the majority of the fourth quarter work, like they probably need more than a touchdown to pay off that price. Then on DraftKings, I think same thing, like 5,600 for Mitchell, 5,800 for Mason. It's like just too expensive. I think I'd probably prefer Jordan Mason of the two. He seemed to be ahead of Mitchell last week, last week. So I'd go with Mason over Mitchell. But with CMC starting the game, even if he's limited, like that's probably too pricey for either of the backup running backs.
Yeah, fair enough. Flying Armbar wants to know KJ Osborne or Alexander Madison on FanDuel.
Go Madison. Like FanDuel's the running back site, so I'd go with Madison. I think he's at some risk of like Cam Akers playing a bigger role, but we don't know. I don't particularly like Osborne, so I'd go with Madison.
Philip Mancini wants to know any shot of Ngwankwu in the winning lineup tonight. What is he on DraftKings 200? Sure. Listen, the shot is one play at $200, and he'll be in the optimal. But will he get it? Will he see enough time on the field? I don't know. Squirrel, what do you think?
Yeah, there's other 200 guys I like more. I'd go like Josh Oliver over Ringhound.
Yeah. Kirk Deese is in chat, and as Maryi Don Yeezy throws out, it is Juggalo season. We have a Juggalo, Chris Kirkwood, a former Juggalo. So Joseph Allen S. Joseph or Jennings on DraftKings.
I'd go Joseph. People don't like to play the underdog kicker, but like he's gonna probably unless the team gets shut out, he's probably gonna get at least 1 point. And I like Ray McLeod more than Juwan Jennings. So like Joseph.
Oh man, I forgot about this narrative. I love weed. He reminded us of the Kirk Cousins narrative on primetime. What do we think about that one? Are we buying into that one, Squirrel? It's quite a big sample size there for him.
Yeah, I believe in the San Francisco's got a really good defense narrative more than the Kirk Cousins primetime narrative. Yeah. But neither one of them is a good sign for Cousins.
I am authentic. Kittle 100-yard prop plus 1 touchdown is plus 1,100 on DraftKings. I'm not a big numbers guy. I couldn't tell you if the odds seem good or bad on stuff like that, but I think a touchdown is good. 100 yards for Kittle, it's kind of pushing it. He's really not that kind of a guy right now or anymore, but maybe he does get there tonight because not only Debo, but then maybe they do want to limit C-Mac's passing game usage. So maybe it's worth a shot. I get 1,100 feels pretty good, right? I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big number. I think you can go there. You're maybe not getting like great value. I'd like the touchdown prop a little bit more at plus 170. I don't know the last time George Kittle had 100 yards. Probably, I guess he had one game last season with 120. He had a handful the year before that. Can he still do it? I don't know. It's not terrible. Like I've seen worse.
All right, guys, we got about 5 minutes left, and I'm not seeing any more questions right now, so we're gonna go ahead and sign off here. Let's get Squirrel's final thoughts here before we jump out of here.
Yeah, so my general thought is I'm going to be a little bit overweight Minnesota players just because they're priced down. Obviously you have to play at least one, and they're all like way more affordable than the San Francisco guys. So a little bit of a fade on McCaffrey. Probably going to end up under the field there. Just overweight the Minnesota guys because there's a number of different game scripts where multiple Minnesota guys can end up on the winning lineup with like reception and stuff like that. So particularly on DraftKings, it's going to be overweight the Minnesota guys.
Fair enough, guys. We appreciate you tuning in. We've got one Game 7 that is kicking off right now with Texas already leading. And we got another one that's going to happen tomorrow night. It looks like Arizona closes out Philly. Game 7 tomorrow night in Philly. So fantastic couple days of sports here, guys. Monday Night Football. As always, thank you, guys. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for jumping in and spending your time. You got a few minutes to go make your last-minute adjustments. For Squirrel, I was your host, Head Chopper. Good luck in those GPPs tonight, and we're out of here.